Okay, you guys, look, I know this is none of my business, but I have to ask. What's Sheldon's deal?
What do you mean deal?
You know, like, what's his deal? Is it girls, guys, sock puppets?
You're riding Morning Shotgun with the Armchair Quarterbacks. We're here weekdays, streaming on the Armchair Quarterbacks app. Download it today. Your first choice for sports talk here on the First Coast.
If I could get out of this place.
This portion of the show is being brought to you by The Best Things in Life, which are still free with minimum purchase at participating dealers.
Hey, Jacksonville, winter is the perfect time to start planning for your healthy, pest-free spring lawn with True Green, America's #1 lawn care company. True Green's science-based approach and local expertise will help give your lawn the year-round care it needs to be thick and weed-free. Go to truegreen.com/radio to save 50% on your first service. Just call 866-946-5956 or go to truegreen.com/radio today and get a lawn to be proud of.
What do you believe in then?
Well, I believe in the soul, the small of a woman's back, the hanging curveball, high fiber, good scotch, that the novels of Susan Sontag are self-indulgent, overrated crap. I believe Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. I believe there ought to be a constitutional amendment outlawing AstroTurf and the designated hitter. And I believe in long, slow, deep, soft, wet kisses that last 3 days.
Oh my.
Armchair.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, y'all. Get your morning started off right. Weekdays with the Armchair Quarterbacks, riding shotgun with you wherever you're heading.
Early in the morning, I say good morning. Hello, and how are you?
Armchair.
He only has 3 rings.
I'm 7-0 this season.
You auto-drafted. That's what all the great GMs do. They delegate.
You didn't do anything.
Yeah, I did. I set the cue.
Without fantasy football, what would friends talk about?
I almost wore shorts today.
Oh.
I was going to do a sweatshirt shorts combo. Switched to pants instead.
Armchair.
Dread running to the post office? Stamps.com brings post office and UPS services right to your computer. Send letters, ship packages, and get up to 40% off USPS and up to 62% off UPS rates. Nearly 1 million small businesses use Stamps.com to save time and money. It's a no-brainer. So skip the post office and visit Stamps.com. Use promo code LISTEN for a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale. That's Stamps.com, promo code LISTEN.
This is Jim Rome. Join me in the jungle for your phone calls and the biggest names in sports. Stop by weekdays, noon until 3 Eastern, 9 to noon Pacific.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the ground.
Sorry. Good morning. Welcome to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Take me out to the ball game as we try to get you caught up in the world of sports in just a few minutes. Get you warmed up for today's show. Today's show ought to be a good one. We've got Justin Waller on Wake Up, y'all, that comes down to the bottom of the hour, and it's his favorite day of the year. We're going to be doing the Tennessee Volunteers today, and we've also got a lot of other things in store. But let's go ahead and get you caught up in what's going on in the world of sports, because we've had a busy weekend in sports, and we're going to go diving right into it. All right, here we go. First of all, yesterday, Trey Lance throws 2 touchdowns after a slow start, so the 49ers rookie is starting to look good, and we'll see what happens with that, see if he ends up unseating Garoppolo. I don't believe they're going to do that to start the season. I think they'll go with Garoppolo until they can figure out that they can't go any longer. Miggy Cabrera, congratulations to him. He joins the 500 club, 500 home runs, and he becomes only the 28th player to do that, considering how long they've been playing baseball. That's a pretty remarkable feat. So congratulations to him. Hall of Fame, Mr. Ranger, Rod Gilbert died yesterday at the age of 80. played his entire 18 career with the New York Rangers from, I believe it was 1960 to 1978, I believe were the years. So we give our best wishes to his family and friends who are mourning his loss. And the Falcons, they lose backup quarterback AJ McCarron. Yes, that AJ McCarron, to a torn ACL. So we'll see what they will do with that. Matt Ryan still has Felipe Franks behind him. Remember Felipe Franks from the Florida Gators and then most recently the Arkansas Razorbacks. So Felipe Franks will try to fill in as the backup. He tears his ACL, so he is done for the season. All right. Moving on from that, let's get into the baseball. As it is getting hot, it is getting heated. It is ready to roll, baby. We are the last few weeks of Major League Baseball. If my math is correct, I believe we have just over 5 weeks left in Major League Baseball. So here you go. The AL East, Tampa Bay, 4.5 games in front of the Yankees in the AL East. We will have the Catbird seat at the 10 a.m. hour on this Monday with Angelo and Temis. So it should be a lot of fun there. Not too much fun for Temis. Boston has free falled. Remember just a few weeks ago, they were tied for first place in the AL East. Boston is 7 games back of the AL East. We'll get into the wild card here in 1 second. It's not over for Boston, but the division may be very well out of hand. All right. The White Sox, they're still cruising around. Remember, every single time we check in on them, they're about 10 games in front of Cleveland. They're going to cruise to the division title. They're 9.5 up as we speak. Houston, they've gained a little ground since the last time we've checked in on them. It's 3.5 games in front of Oakland. Oakland has played terrible baseball the last 10 days, 3-7 overall. So if you're Oakland, it's time to get back on the horse. You're hosting Seattle, who, by the way, they're on your tail as well. If we look over at the AL wild card standings right now, if it ended today, Boston and Oakland would have to play a play-in game for the right to face the New York Yankees in the Bronx for a 1-game play-in. That's not what you want if you're Boston or Oakland. Because granted, you'd rather have that than not make the playoffs. But if you have to put in all your bullets in one game and then the very next night put them right back in, the Yankees are going to be sitting there well rested. So Boston and Oakland fighting it out, and there's still an outside chance for Seattle, who are 3 games out, and Toronto, who are 4.5 games out. I believe that's it. 7.5 with Cleveland and et cetera. It's too many teams to jump in front of with very little time to play. Let's go to the National League. All right, the National League. We've had a lot of movement going on the last few weeks, and the Atlanta Braves, who are on a 9-game winning streak. Now they have beaten 3 really bad franchises, but they've swept them all. That's hard. That's still hard to do in Major League Baseball because you're bound to have some kind of a screw up, right? You're bound to have a bad day by your starting pitching, etc. Well, the Braves have won 9 in a row. It is the best road trip that they have had since 1992. They will host the Yankees today. That should be a lot of fun. It's a 2-game series with the Yankees. And then strangely, I have never seen this, to my recollection, in all my years of watching baseball. The Braves will play Monday and Tuesday and then be off Wednesday and Thursday and then come back on Friday. You normally don't get 2 days off in a row like that, especially in the middle of the playoff hunt. That really helps Atlanta, I believe, because it'll help them rest their bullpen. All right, we'll get more into the Braves on Braves Country today, which will come to you right after the wake up, y'all. We got a lot to squeeze into this morning with a little time to do it. Philadelphia is 5 games back of Atlanta. They took 2 of 3 in San Diego, so that helped them immensely after getting swept by Arizona. And the Mets, they won the last game of the series against the Dodgers. They are now 7 games back of Atlanta. So right now, that's what you're looking at. Atlanta, Philly 5-back, Mets 7-back. Mets have a pulse, but not much of one. Philadelphia and Atlanta seems to be almost a 2-team race unless something drastic happens. Okay. Milwaukee, they still have a firm 7.5 game lead in front of Cincinnati. So you got to figure the Brewers are going to get that division title, but we'll get to the wild card in a second. Giants gained a game on the Dodgers yesterday. They won. The Dodgers lost. San Diego lost again. San Diego's done as far as the division. They're 13 games out. They'd been like right on the cusp there the entire season. And then like the last 3 weeks or so, they've fallen off. 13 games out of the division race. Giants 2.5 back. They still have a chance in the wild card. Now, what does the wild card look like right now in the National League? Right now, if it ended today, the Dodgers would get the number 1 wild card, and they're 9.5 games in front. So either the Dodgers or Giants are going to get that wild card. That's a given. That is a given. But the Cincinnati Reds, I've been talking about this for 2 weeks. The Cincinnati Reds have now leapfrogged San Diego. They're one game in front of the San Diego Padres. It's not over for the Padres by any stretch of the imagination, but what a run it's been for the Cincinnati Padres for the Cincinnati Reds while the Padres have been floundering. San Diego, 1 game behind. They host the Dodgers starting tomorrow. What a big series that is for San Diego. Not to try to get back in the division race, to keep their head above water. St. Louis is hot on their tail. They're 4.5 back. Philadelphia 5, and then once again, the Mets at 7. So there you have that. All right. So what does it look like today? Today in the world of baseball, we're going to be looking at it's kind of a light slate as it normally is on Mondays, but there's actually some pretty good action. You got the Yankees and Braves at 7:20. It's Jordan Montgomery versus Huascar Ynoa. Notice Heaney got bumped. Heaney was supposed to go, and they've just said to hell with that. Rangers Red Sox play today at 1:10. That is a makeup from the rain out last night because of Hurricane Henry or Tropical Storm Henry. Eovaldi will take the mound there. And then the other big game of interest, White Sox, Blue Jays, 7:07, Manoah versus Lynn. The rest of it is kind of garbage. Although the late slate, if you are a late night person, the A's Mariners do have AL wildcard implications. All right. So now we go to try to wind this down here, and we'll go ahead and go into the turn back time because we're going to run out of time here. Today, on this date, in 1958, on this date in history, Nellie Fox, 98 consecutive games without striking out ends when lefty Whitey Ford whiffs him in the White Sox 7-1 victory over the Yankees. The Chicago second baseman last struck out on May 16th. To put that in perspective, looking at Nellie Fox's stats, well, by the way, he finally got in to the Hall of Fame in 1997 by the Veterans Committee, well overdue. The guy had 1,279 runs scored. His RBIs, he was a light hitting second baseman. Most second basemen were in that time period. So you have to take the context of when he played. But his strikeouts, listen to his strikeout totals throughout his entire career. 2 in 1965, 13 in 1964, 17 in 1963, goes on and on and on. He played for the White Sox and the Royals in 48 and 49, and the White Sox throughout the 50s. The most strikeouts that man ever had in one season was 18 in 1953. 18 in the entire, and I'm talking about playing full 156 games schedule. Back then it was 156. 18 strikeouts, the most that he ever had. All in all, Nellie Fox was a 15-time All-Star. He was the AL MVP in 1959. His batting average lifetime was only 288. Nothing that jumps out at you. Had 2,600 hits. That doesn't necessarily floor you, but the consistency, and only had 35 home runs. Like I said, he was light hitting second baseman, but is still regarded as one of the greatest defensive second baseman of all time. And that's your turn back time or your this date in history for Monday, August 23rd, which, by the way, is the 7th birthday of the Armchair Quarterbacks. We debuted on this day in 2014, August 23rd. This will be our eighth football season going into our 8th season begins today. So we look forward to that, and we'll see you at the bottom of the hour with Justin Waller with Wake Up Y'all. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll take me out to the ball game.
Take me out to the ball game.